Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you're joining this conversation around the world. My name is Scott Armstrong, and I am the Editor-in-Chief of Arabian Business here in Dubai. Now, today we are discussing Citizenship by Investment, or CBI, and I'm delighted to be joined by two experts in this field to unpack what is a growing topic of conversation. My first guest is Mohammed Asaria, who is founder and managing director of Dubai-based Range Development, a leader in CBI programs. An investment and hospitality company, Range operates across the Eastern Caribbean, and to date, Range is the only CBI developer to have completed 2 5-star luxury resorts, with its flagship project, the ultra-luxury Park Hyatt St. Kitts, fully operational since 2017. And my second guest is Carolyn Lee, principal with Carolyn Lee PLLC, which was founded to embrace the complexities and opportunities within the EB-5 Immigration and Investor Program in the USA. Carolyn has helped clients raise over $2.5 billion in EB-5 capital for diverse projects across America. She has also embraced the opportunities represented in the EB-2 visa program, which will form a large part of our conversation today. Mohammed, Carolyn, welcome to this conversation.
Good day, Scott. Great to be with you.
Mohammed, I'll start with you, if I may. We've been hearing an awful lot of conversation over the last 6 months in particular about CBI and alternative citizenship. Why has that, in your opinion, become such a vital topic of conversation during coronavirus in particular?
Yes, Scott, I think that's a very relevant question, especially here in Dubai, which is suddenly become a hub, not just for the Middle East, but arguably the globe. So many nationalities are looking at this for so many different reasons. Over the past 6 to 12 months, Corona has increased anxieties, elevated people's anxieties in their hometowns, whether that's social, economic, political. People are nervous. And one of the hedges against some of those anxieties is to get a second citizenship. It provides a comfort blanket. It can be obtained without 3 months, without the need to visit or reside in a foreign country. And that's a very powerful tool to protect you and your family's legacy. In addition to that, with increasing taxes in most countries around the world today, and I think that's a phenomenon which is just going to keep on increasing. I mean, you look at India, citizenship-based taxation is coming, just like what they have in the United States. So a lot of people are now forum shopping, for want of a better word, and nationality shopping as part of their structuring, steps. Also, individuals have been locked down. High net worth individuals who are not used to having their wings clipped have had those wings clipped. A lot of them have seen their peers continue the ability to travel because they had a second nationality. During lockdown, if you had a second nationality and you were living in Nigeria, you were still able to leave Lagos, whereas if you only had one citizenship, you were restricted to Lagos or you were restricted to Moscow. And the high net worth investor doesn't want to find himself trapped. God forbid we have a repeat of 2020 again. So CBI has really proven itself as a very versatile tool for high net worth investors over the 6 to 12 months. For the various reasons I've touched upon. And demand for this product is growing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting as well, because yes, lots of people have had their wings clipped, particularly in 2020. The world's beginning to open up. What's the continued appeal of CBI in 2021?
So Scott, if you look at it, not only does it help you continue to flap your wings as we're using it as a metaphor, if you find yourself in a cage, but it also helps you spread your wings further afield. CBI provides you the ability to travel to 140 countries, the UK, Schengen, China, Russia, you name it, okay? Pretty much everywhere you need to go with obtaining a second citizenship. So as the green shoots of economic recovery return and individuals need to travel again, those from certain emerging markets find themselves unable to travel because their citizenship doesn't afford them that opportunity or necessity. And no, I'm not using the word luxury. I'm using the word necessity because the businessman today needs to be truly global. And CBI helps him achieve his business ambitions. And as the green shoots of recovery emerge, I'm going to stress more and more that, taxation is going to drive this. You have people who move to Dubai, and we are a very tax-friendly jurisdiction. But
Indeed.
Because of their home country citizenship, whether it's Argentina, which levies a 3% wealth tax, or whether it's India, which is now taxing its NRIs, these are large amounts of money that individuals have to pay to a foreign government, which is now a foreign government, which may have been a former home. And they can alleviate these charges by structuring their nationality.
Carolyn, I can see you nodding your head there. What's your view of this? And are you hearing that kind of drumbeat of conversation, that drumbeat of interest over there in the US as well?
Well, internationally, absolutely. And of course, that I cannot compete with Mohammed's poetry and in his similes, but absolutely. And to your question, Scott, I don't see the demand for this waning, because I think that there's this sense that, yes, we may be getting over this hump, but it feels like there might be another hump in the future. We don't know when. And I think there is this sense of concern and anxiety. And then I think that the flip side of that has been, a sense of, this is the chance I get to spread my wings and to test my entrepreneurial bounds and to see how my family would fare on different soil. Maybe it would flourish, to use some of Mohammed's poetry. So I do see the explosion of the demand, and I do not see it waning.
That's an interesting question. Do you think coronavirus is focusing people's minds, and they think life is too short, so they want to take this leap from an entrepreneurial point of view?
Oh my goodness, yes. Don't you feel that way? I know I do. And we don't really talk about it in the course of business conversations, or even, in communications with my clients, but I definitely feel that there is a movement underneath their decisions, their motivations. And I think it's this sense of wanting to see what else is out there. It's very entrepreneurial. It's very positive.
So, Mohammed, what are the most sought after citizenship programs for high net worth individuals? We sat recently, didn't we, at a conference for HNWIs. Where's popular?
Sure. And I think to answer your question, I need to start by saying the world of citizenship by investment is shrinking on an annual basis. Countries which were offering citizenship in 2019, 2020 are no longer offering that product. So we've seen the European Union countries, Cyprus, no longer offers second citizenship, which was very popular. Regulation is coming in and getting more and more stringent. So if you look at Malta, it used to be a 3-month process. Now it's close to a 2-year process. So if an individual is looking for a second citizenship in an expeditious time period, without the need to move country, really, it's only the Caribbean. It's the 5 countries in the Caribbean. Montenegro has been announced that it's also shutting its program at the end of the year. The European Union's position on this. And out of the Caribbean, you have 4 countries which offer global mobility, which is St. Kitts, Dominica, Antigua, and St. Lucia. And Grenada, on top of that, has global mobility, plus it affords you the opportunity to relocate to the United States. And that's where my business overlaps with Carolyn's so much, that we undertake the citizenship by investment. And then we pass the baton on to Carolyn to structure the individual's affairs when and if they wish to move to the United States. And that's like an added call option. And that's one of the reasons why Grenada has assumed the pole position in the rankings of citizenship by investment.
Kind of CBI plus then. Carolyn, you're seeing that from your side as well. That must be very attractive to HNWIs looking for alternative citizenship.
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate 1-2 punch, right? For all the reasons that we've been talking about, that's sort of the backdrop, the motivation, the sense that I want to expand my wings and then I can't. I would like a base in the United States. I'd like to have a business base in the United States, a residence in the United States. I'd like my children to take advantage of the excellent educational opportunities here. But I'm from a country that doesn't have a treaty with the United States. And so this world of citizenship by investment is really an incredible opportunity and a very, very viable, real, established option for these investors to land first and then be able to get the E2 visa. I do want to comment a little bit on Mohammed and depart with him just a little bit, and ultimately, I think, come to the same point. In a sense, there is a proliferation of CBI programs as well, right? We saw that Egypt has come up with its own and Northern Macedonia. And so I think that what I see is a trend for more of those programs popping on, but then there'll be a culling, right? Because then what'll emerge from that are the programs and the players who have been established with a track record and with tremendous deep bench of experience. Yeah. So I see both happening.
I mean, that's an interesting point, isn't it, Mohammed? I mean, we've talked in the past as well about various bad actors in other different countries. What should a client consider before signing up for a program with a particular developer? I mean, you have an incredible track record of actually delivering 5-star resorts, built, operating, successful.
So look, Scott, you've really hit the nail on the head, as you usually do. You need to make smart investment decisions. You need to assess the counterparty you're working with. When you introduced Carolyn, you said she's helped people raise $2.5 billion of citizenship by investment capital. That's a lady who has credibility. I would rather trust Carolyn than someone who's just rented an office and is just starting fresh in this business, because this business, like every other business, has its peculiarities, and it takes experience and a track record to be able to navigate those. We have helped close to 5,000 people with their second citizenship journey. We've been in business for close to a decade. We've opened the Park Hyatt and Kits. We've opened the Kempinski Dominica. We're working on the 6 Senses Grenada. We've mobilized during a pandemic. We're on track. In Dominica, we're hit by 2 of the most severe windstorms that this planet got ever hit by, yet we were not a day late. Okay, and I think that track record speaks for yourself. So when you have an established party, and if you decide for whatever reason, when the price is the same, to go with someone who doesn't have that level of experience and track record, and you haven't done your due diligence, then really it is your own fault if you end up losing money. And unfortunately, I mean, the timing of this conversation is very topical. We've seen a couple of examples of those emanate over the last week or two. And at the end of the day, it's all about due diligence. Do your due diligence on every single investment you do, not just citizenship, but financial or otherwise. And if you do your due diligence properly, you will have a better chance of having a secured investment. It's that simple. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to observe, Scott and Mohammed, that this is a very natural part of the growth of an industry, right? And I certainly have seen it in our own country, in the United States, with the EB-5 investor program. It's our residency by investment program, and it was founded in 1990, and it's gone through various cycles. And as a program goes through a growth period, there is going to be a culling out of the quality players and the not so much by way of quality players. So, and I think that I'm much newer to the CBI industry than both of you, and certainly Mohammed, but it feels to me like that is what's happening here. And of course, what'll happen is, again, I think the nice thing to look forward to in this process is that the cream will rise. And I've seen that.
I wanted to come to you, Carolyn, because I know you began life sort of embracing the EB-5, but I've heard you talk about how you became alive to the opportunities within the EB-2 visa program. What turned you on to that, and why is that a growing area of popularity?
Gosh, that's such a good question. So quite honestly, if EB5 were back on track and positioned to realize its full potential, I don't think I would have sought other opportunities and looked into E2s and CBIs for that matter. The reality is that it's a wonderful program, and it still works quite well. The band of families and investors for which it's that perfect fit has gotten smaller, mainly because of the investment threshold increase from 500,000, which is quite low, really sub-market in the RBI world, to 900,000. And so I think that has really made me expand my horizons, look out over my desk, and discovering CBI and the E2 visas, which are very interesting because to me, they have the seeds of the spirit that really engendered the EB5 program. But it doesn't have the challenges. Again, my beloved EB5 program, a perfect fit for those certain families and investors. But I must say the E2 visa is a fit for a much broader array of investors, mainly because of its flexibility. And that's what investors of today who are looking for that second base, who are looking to expand their wings, are looking for. They need flexibility, they need speed, they need stability, durability. And all of those things are what the E2 visa does offer in a way that's unique.
You were talking, Mohammed, about expeditious and looking for CBI in an expeditious way. Is the E2 visa the right option for someone that's looking to get that citizenship in a fast and timely manner?
So look, first of all, the E2 visa concept has been around for close to 200 years. Okay. In 2019, there were close to 40,000 people which migrated to the United States under the E2 visa. EB5 at a similar level attracted 10,000 people. So it's a very popular visa category. But the emerging market countries where the American dream is at the pinnacle of people's mind or the forefront of people's mind, they're not treaty countries. So only certain countries, nationals, can move under this treaty. So you've got to go forum shopping, become a treaty national, and then leapfrog into the United States. And as Carolyn pointed out, some of Mr. Trump's regulations as pertains to EB5 program, price rises, plus the waiting list is quite long. I believe if you're Chinese, it's subject to close to a decade it takes you to get an EB5.
Wow.
In India, 5 or 6 years. So that's really an unacceptable time because you're looking at this program because you want to go now or you want to go in the next weeks and months. So an E2 visa can be obtained within 6 weeks. It's an investment in your own business. So you're investing 100,000, 150,000. Scott is setting up, I don't know, Top Golf in Miami. Okay. The profit and loss of that venture is based on your effort, and your destiny is your own hands. More so, your spouse can come with you. Your children get the same rights as an American citizen in the American education sector. And if you really are getting this as a backup plan, so you're still spending most of your time in Dubai, but you just need to have this, God forbid something goes wrong. You're not taxed on your worldwide income from the get-go. You're only taxed on it once you're in the US for more than 122 days. And that's one of the disadvantages with EB5 is that you're taxed on your worldwide income from the get-go once you've got your green card. So EB5 is perfect for certain people. And I think that E2 is an option for certain people as well. I think it's an assessment of your personal circumstances, and that's how you make the decision.
Mohammed, you're hired. You're my chief marketing officer from this day onward. I absolutely, all of those points, beautifully made, of course. And I think a point worth talking about or touching on is one of the points that you raised earlier, Scott, is why CBI and E2 now? And I think one must understand the background politics as well, worldwide, and certainly in the United States. And this is the point that I make with the concept of durability and stability. So under the Trump administration, which was not known to be immigration friendly,
So
There were,
understatement.
it's an understatement. There were all sorts of restrictions and travel bans, restricting the workhorses, the very commonly used visas like H-1Bs and J-1s. The E-2 was exempt from those bans in recognition of this uncontroversial benefit to the US economy at a time when we need it the most. And the Biden and Harris administration is not poised to make any changes in that respect. And as Mohammed mentioned, there are 49,000 E-2 visas issued in just 1 year. It has a very high approval rate. In 2019, it had an 89% approval rate by published government statistics. So it doesn't suffer the vagaries of politics. Everybody recognizes that this is a valuable toolbox that we have in the United States to serve our economy.
I'm still thinking about the backup plan being in Miami. It sounds absolutely fantastic. I wanted to ask also with you, are there any considerations that people should have if they're going to successfully apply for an E2 visa application? Because it can't be just that easy. Or can it?
Right. Well, yes and no. How's that for a lawyerly answer?
Very much so.
Thank you, I think. So there are requirements, and the requirements are very transparent and they're stable. They haven't changed for a very, very long time. So we know what they are. And so in that sense, it's easy. They're there. There's a blueprint. The challenge is in applying your particular entrepreneurial facts, your business, your family makeup, your source of funds to the stable guidance that we have. And I think that's where the art, I dare say, and sometimes the challenge could come in. It does have two components. One has to look at and structure the business to comply with the guidelines, as well as the investor's source of funds. We have to verify that they're lawful, they're not ill-gotten gains of criminal activity and such.
Yeah. Okay, and last question on this then. The main differences between E2 and EB5, and is it possible to change the status from E2 to EB5 within time?
Yes, I would say this is one of, yes, indeed. And I would say this is, this keys into the flexibility factor. One does want to plan for it at the outset so that it's structured properly. But yes, it can be a step toward the EB, very nice step toward an EB5 green card down the road, because one can transition into it. You can have the E2 visa with a lower investment threshold, have a foothold in the United States for your family and yourself, and work up to the EB5 investment level.
Mohammed, any final thoughts around this? You expect this to continue to be a growth industry in 2021?
Definitely. And I mean, one thing I will say, and I'm going to go back to tax. So I think Carolyn's covered the US angle very well. But one thing the emerging markets seem to be learning very well from is tax from the United States. So they have a very stringent taxation system and a very expensive taxation system. So as more and more countries, in India, using another, yet again naming India, come up with a global taxation citizen on its HNI and its NRIs. One thing which is currently being mooted is to introduce a US-style exit tax. So if Carolyn decided to take up a Grenadian passport tomorrow and relinquish her US citizenship, she would need to pay a 23% net capital gains tax on her assets. Now, I'm sure Carolyn has made a lot of money as a lawyer, so that is a very significant amount of money. And let's say, a country like India comes up with that because they've come up with a global taxation scheme. And then to avoid everyone suddenly giving back their Indian citizenship, they will have an exit tax as a deterrent. And at the moment, that's not in the legislation. I understand things are being contemplated. So I think a lot of smart advisors are advising their clients to look at this seriously now, because it's not the time for window shopping. This is going to be a very expensive degree in hindsight if you don't act now. I mean, if someone is worth 100 million dirhams and they have to pay 23% of their net worth to the Indian government or Argentinian government or any government, if they were to hand back their home country's citizenship, That's a lot more than the $220,000 or $300,000 that a second citizenship would cost them. So, a lot of people are looking at it seriously. They realize it's the time to act. And I think for the next 2 to 3 years, CBI is going to be driven not only by global mobility, not only by the desire to relocate to the United States, but by taxation considerations, and in addition, providing this hedge against some of the challenges that the world is currently facing.
Carolyn, I saw you wince there as Mohammed talked about the 23%.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Any final thoughts on this for our audience today?
I would like to end on a positive note. I think all of this is positive. We've had, as a world community, really experienced such challenges in the last couple of years, and some parts of the world are still undergoing tremendous challenges, and we can't forget about that. The CBI and the E2-1-2 punch, that's a winner. I think it's a bright light for for investors and economists that I hire, and it's great to be a part of that.
Well, thank you very much both for your time today. Fascinating conversation. I'm going to start Googling Miami right now. Thanks for the recommendation, Mohammed. And to our audience around the world, if you want any more information, look up Range Developments or indeed Carolyn Lee PLLC. Thank you to you both for joining us.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mohammed. Pleasure as always.